Okay, it's a good thing we came because we're the audience as well. Not quite. Anyway, great to be part of this, the launch of Yes Merthyr, because three of us, Andrew's not here, he's on his way hopefully, three of us are on the kind of committee, and now we've done this reading, we'll all leave. No, not at all. It's tremendous to be involved. Hopefully Jazz will be involved as well in the future. Okay, so we've been going 25 years, so Tim tells me anyway. I thought it was 23, that's issue 23. Issue 24 is launched in the IMP in September, as always. And this is one from my book, Sofa Surfing. This is about Wales then, really. Too Bloody Weak. The two poems I'm going to read link up to do with people on the streets busking, as you'll see. Too bloody weak. We can't do it, see? There's no way we'd survive on our own. We're too bloody weak. All that money come from Brussels and now London. How are we going to live off of real ale, whiskey, cheese, veg and milk? I know we got water, but who's going to buy it? Liverpool? It ain't exactly oil. We don't produce nothing, only wind, food and poetry. And who can live off of these? It's like we're busking, see? Playing the same old tunes, desperate for a few coins. They see us and pass by. Well, they are doing something, but it's not proper, really. And this carries on, this is a busker. Just kind of, I suppose I have a go at people who are kind of Welsh, or just Welsh for the day, basically. One day nationalists or whatever. Fuck all to lose. If you ain't got nothing, there's fuck all to lose, and everything to gain. I've been standing on street corners, busking far too long. A dragon flag draped, a bit manky looking, over my shivering shoulders. Crowds pass by for a game, singing their old hymns, with their 3 feathers on, daps for a day, pissed as fucking farts, dropping a few coins. I play so many tunes, sneaking in my own songs. Eves and Stevens and Jarman. Quick pick for Facebook and Instagram. Some will stop and listen, always on the edge of things. Hopefully, one day, centre stage, performing for the ones who gather, ones who'll finally make a change. Okay, diolch yn fawr iawn. I won't announce the poets, they've got to run in order, so say it'll be the same this afternoon. Okay, diolch yn fawr, thank you.
Quick change of glasses. Start with been trying to pick out the best ones to use for this. Some of them are oldies that you've probably heard before. The first one is about a fracking incident in North Wales, in Wrexham, that happened a few years ago. It's called "And the Dead Shall Rise." And what price did you pay for the silence, the ultimate price? 266 men sent to their grave in Gresford in 1934, most still underground. The mine, the pit, not just the beating heart of Wales, but of every mining community within its borders and beyond, and made sclerotic by greedy coal owners who bored up Davy lamps with the promise of safety, but used them to place men in greater danger in pursuit of profit, until the damps, the gases suffocated you. You were betrayed, murdered by your bosses, and now their spiritual great-grandchildren are coming for you. They want to desecrate your graves, boys. They want to rip the poison gas from your lungs for profit. They may not have God on their side, but they have politicians and court orders, allowing them to pump chemicals and sand suspended in water into the ground, shattering the shale and your bodies too, and leaving your relatives to cope with yet another disaster. But like a canary in a coal mine, environmental activists are there, warning of the impending danger brought on by a bunch of frackers. When bailiffs destroy their protest camp, just like canaries, they fly to another field and begin again. And colliery riddles march down new Maconiosis avenues to offer support for the protesters, because if they fail, the dead shall rise, shattered into tiny fragments along with the shale. The irony of that story as well is that the Assembly opposed the fracking company, who then went to England and got a court order to carry on doing their fracking. So yeah, it's I think
a
bunch of fractors, but again, shows why Yes Cymru is as important as it is. And the other one is that I'm going to read now is again based on our wonderful British government destroying the steel industry in Wales, and you know they saved the steel works on the basis that you know, we've saved your jobs, lads, but you're going to have to work for much less. A bunch of them in robbers, basically. This one, I'm sure you'll know what it is about. It's about the Tata Steel Company and the shenanigans that went on there. It's called Tata Tantok, which I'm sure you'll know means goodbye for now. My daddy was a steel worker. He worked at Castle Works. Callaghan betrayed Cardiff. It's the last time that he worked. Then my older brother, he worked at GKN. Thatcher and McGregor attacked steel workers again. Then the gruesome twosome turned their minds to coal, consigning miners and community to poverty on the dole. Now their market madness stripped bare for all to see, a pack of business locusts called time on industry. The gruesome twosome's love child sat in number 10, watching as the steel workers paid the price again, robbing cash from poor to rich. David Cameron became a modern day sheriff of Nottingham, who bought cheap steel from China while ours paid China's tariffs, all with the agreement of China's favourite sheriff. Tatar's vultures will come for plant, they'll come to Asset Strip, occupy the steelworks, don't let them take one bit. The future of Port Talbot, I'm sure you realise, could be like pit villages we need to organise. This government's mean but weak, let's rip open their eyes. We are the majority when we shout nationalise. The last one isn't so much about Wales, but it's about, you know, if you want people to rise up and take control of their part of the world again, you shouldn't try and choose favourite dictators that you might, you know, we don't have favourite dictators as far as I'm concerned. It's in solidarity with the old Chartist slogan, perish the privileged orders. So I'm really glad that the Merthyr Rising Festival got rid of some of Bashar al-Assad's bloody spokespeople. So this poem is in solidarity with that move and also what's happening in Syria. It's called Shoes. Baby shoes, never worn, left by a mother for her daughter in the rubble in Raqqa, where there used to be a school till some bloody-minded fool decided to bomb Syria. It was the only epitaph for her dead and pregnant daughter. No time to mourn between the slaughter which is being inflicted on us who have done nothing by those who have done everything but admit nothing. And 1,000 maniacs inhabit our world. Some wear uniforms, some wear suits, some wear black, but none of them mourn. They want to pile up the dead like chips in a casino. Yes, both Daesh, Assad, Russia and the West gamble with lies as each and every one of the maniacs strives to control oil whilst burying their heads in the sand.
Okay, Tim Evans. This is a new one in solidarity with Palestinians, in solidarity with what they've been through, not just over the last week, but since 1948, since the Nakba, since the catastrophe, and what's happened over the last week in particular, and the silence of our leaders in this country and in the States. Well, in the States you wouldn't expect it, but I think the tide is turning for the Palestinians. Actually, I remember 20 years ago it was not an issue. Nobody ever talked about it. Now it's a centre, really, and remains, I think, to be the centre of our international efforts in solidarity with the Palestinians. This one's called Face of a Soldier. A static image anchored in the moment its photo was taken. 4 soldiers loaded with heavy weaponry, body armour, olive green field dress, steel-capped boots, dragging a 10-year-old boy towards an armoured car. The boy wears a Spider-Man t-shirt and blue tracksuit bottoms with an FC Barcelona decal. His flailing feet cannot touch the ground because the soldiers have hoisted him in the air. One of his battered trainers lies in the rubble behind him, lost forever in the sand as they carry him ever closer to the armoured car. His face is slick with tears as he begs and pleads. When the begging doesn't work, he kicks and screams, for his friend Rashid was snatched only 3 months ago, and he never came back. He pleads that he's only on his way home, that his little sister is waiting for him, that he never threw any stones. Please, mister, let me go. Around his thighs, his black tracksuit bottoms are black, where he has pissed himself in fear. He is a child of Gaza. 3 of the soldiers are wearing visors, so their faces are not visible, but the 4th has his helmet pushed back so that you can see his face clearly, frozen in that second. He is a new recruit, a pale-faced teenager, not yet brutalized. And in that moment, in that frozen second, his unguarded face tells all. His look is guilty, furtive, even frightened, even though he is the one clad in body armour and toting a Galil assault rifle. He stares over his shoulder to see not if there are any witnesses, for that does not worry him, but with that guilty glance of betrayal, he almost looks afraid to see that God is watching. It is a haunted glance that knows that if this is his future, every time he pulls the trigger for the Israeli state, he blows a piece of himself away. Until to do this bloody job, all Palestinians must be sent to the same realm of the Untermenschen to which German Jews were sent. And in that moment, in the frozen horror on his face, I see the coming collapse of the state of Israel. Like all oppressors that have come before him, to Ireland, to India, to South Africa, he stands at the wrong end of history. And for him and his masters, this war is already lost. Thank you. And this one, rather more upbeat, is about the mainly parliamentary members of the Labour Party that have been attempting to destroy, I will use the word advisedly, to destroy Jeremy Corbyn. And it's called What's Worse Than a Tory? It's sort of, you know, if you're not pissed off, you're not paying attention. You know? It's one of those things. You know what's worse than a Tory, than Theresa, Boris or Hunt, than Thatcher and co, a priori, and all the other bigots and drunks. You know what's worse than a Tory? Overfed and inbred. And Tories are lower than vermin. That's what good old Nye Bevan said. You know what's worse than a Tory? And their parties of rulers and kings, their parties of bankers and wankers and sponsors of corporate sins. I'll tell you what's worse than a Tory. More spineless and foul than these scum. More cowardly, weak-kneed and gutless. More sickening, tainted and dumb. And that's the kind of class traitor you will see in the PLP. Who'd rather see the Tories in power than the likes of you and me, Hilary Benn, Tom Watson, Owen Smith, Margaret Hodge, Lords Faulkner and Bassam of Brighton, the elites and the greasy pole squad. They pretend that they're there for the people, but they're really there for the cash. While they're pimping up their careers, they treat their own members like trash. Lucy Powell and Angela Eagle, Carl Turner, Ian Murray, Kate Green conspired against their own leader, plotting and scheming off screen. You know where you are with your enemy, but these are your enemy's spies, capitalism's own agents. I'm sick of their libelous lies. So I ask you, what's worse than a Tory? Well, here, there some of them are. Now you know. Your time is long gone, you traitors. Into the dustbin of history you'll go. Okay, folks, thank you. That's a lot.
Somebody asked me yesterday, what's this Merthyr Rising about? A woman living in Kidderminster, Worcestershire, who's just had her first book of poems published. And she has some links with Wales, so she's quite keen on Wales, and last year visited a friend living in Neath, so there's always a link somewhere on the way. People ask me too, in America, what's Merthyr Rising about? So I told them too. So the word gets spread around the world. There's one poem I wrote 2 years ago for Merthyr Rising. It's a short one, I'll read it later on. First of all, one about the food banks. Food banks today, they are needed because of the situation around us in the world where people have not got enough food to live on. But should this happen today in this world of ours, people have enough food to live on? On the other hand, I know some people who've gone to food bank with a voucher and they shouldn't have had that voucher. And people who should have had a voucher haven't had one. So there's some things conflicting about it. This is called Food for Thought about the food banks from the Red Coats, was it last year or this year? Food for Thought. Take your voucher to the food bank. We will fill a bag for you. Juice and cereal, soup and beans, long life milk and tin tomatoes. Tell your story to the food bank. We will say a prayer for you, with tea and sympathy and a biscuit, before they send you on your way. Say a thank you at the food bank before you catch your bus back home. Maybe allow 2 more visits to help feed you and your family. Or park your car outside the food bank on your short break from work. You're on benefits, but you have that piece of paper. But praise the work of the food banks, all you commons men. Let the poor sup and sip while you wine and dine. These are the days of the food bank. Praise to those who work there. Feast on the best, waste some food, but leave crumbs for the poor. This is one about Merthyr Rising, a short one in the book, and it was used as part of an email address for the Merthyr Town Football Club, so he was quite impressed by it. Although when I said men at the last verse, he made it into people, so with sex perhaps. So it's called Merthyr Rising, it's only a short one. We bear the scars, felt the pain, hot iron blast, cold in our veins, slums and low pay, fear of death. This was no life, struggling for breath. Furnace, coal mine, children at work, silent bosses, don't let the shirk. Fight for your rights. unite in the hope of better things. Together we'll cope. We are people in Merthyr, flag raised on high. Onwards, upwards, sound the battle cry. Thanks.
I love a microphone because you can hide behind it. Usually I hide behind a camera. I feel comfortable. And without a mic it feels really uncomfortable. But this is okay. It's like 1904 again, isn't it? You know, we filled all the future. And, you know, it's, actually it feels normal, doesn't it? Merthyr, yes, I'm in Merthyr. This is the official launch, and I'm a Merthyr boy, born in Dowlais. And the 1960s in Merthyr were great, and in Red Poets 21 there is a poem called In Dreams, and I'm going to read it to you now. And it recalls life in Merthyr, the way the things used to be, and how things have changed. And it's called In Dreams. Can't get near the Queen's jukebox or a Bellevue bar stool. Can't even cross the steps of the Lamb. It's Saturday, so everyone's in town. Silk stocking factory girls in PVC microskirts, arm in arm, striding all proud. The college scarfed, homed, posed with sleeves of Monk, Tenton, Coltrane. Cool-looking slouchers up the arcade, nodding in booths to the B.B. King blues. Jumped up foremen in shadows from thumbs of platinum rinse wines, glide in Zephyrs and Zodiacs to Schwartzes and Flux. Then the leather boys, flat across tanks, turn up the slip road on Tritons and Bonnies. And there's one lonely guy walking with the end is nigh on a board that everyone ignores. It's Saturday, so everyone's in town. Work flows fast as our famous river. All week we make steel and cakes, toys and bricks, and we cut coal. And we made washing machines and light bulbs, and we skinned cows. Beautifully we abused our minds and bodies, found love, wrote a song, boxed a shadow, kicked a ball. We tried 3 jobs in a week, formed a band and roadied for man. We got jobs and we got dreams. But is all of this an illusion? Where are the jobs? Where are the dreams? Is the one ignored a Zen master with the truth on his board? Or is it a dream within a dream? Does the river still flow? And does anyone skin cows anymore? And then this is a self-congratulatory poem. It's about the Red Poets. So I think everyone knows exactly what I'm going to say, really. It's a kind of tribute to a Zen master, Leonard Cohen. So you can leave the room now if you like. It's called The Imperial Hotel, with thanks to a Zen master, 1984 to 2016. I remember you well in the Imperial Hotel, Red Poets in all shades but shady. Your unceremonial master Mike mentoring, bluebird guruing. Mr. Bart's, not you, Mr. Bart's Dadaist dancing. Terry Dog and Debbie campaigning. Julia Ely tender swaying. Journo Phil, Dylan Teague crooning. weird units invisible screening, Lightning Williams and Blackwood Patrick raging, Needs Night gets everyone laughing, Gustavius's polar bears are showing, Lawman Richards glaring, gnashing, Virtuoso Church always dazzling, Host Jose French welcoming, Johnny Edwards Costa Prize fighting, Buddhist Barry raucous chorusing, Strummer Bevan Churchill butting, Hard folking puddlers duetting, and Jim scientifically reviewing, as the poets keep on coming. And if you're lucky, JD's ghost you'll see, though he's mostly up here in the tower with me. Yes, all you red poets, I remember you well, down there in the Imperial Hotel. Thank you.
I had to find it on my phone, these poems. It's much easier these days to use technology. Right, I'm Harry Rogers. I'm going to read one very short one and then two slightly longer, but not very long, any of them. First one's about refugees. It's called Blood and Roses. A refugee from planet Earth came by my house today. He asked me if I had some work, a place where he could stay. I took him in, I gave him tea, I made him up a bed, I bandaged up his broken knee, I washed his bloody head. Set him on to mowing my lawn, trimming my hedge, digging my veg. I wash all the blood, he cuts the roses. My near neighbourhood look down their noses. We are happy here with blood and roses, the blood and roses, those blood red roses. It's very nice to see that. This next one is act for this week, as the Grenfell inquiry has been going on. It's called Have You Seen Enough? Clambering cameraman shoots it all, the contorted refrigerator door, melted cistern hanging from bathroom wall, dividing panels, black ash upon floor, fired plastic grease streaking bare concrete, empty twisted spare metal window frames, exposed mattress springs, revealed bedstead feet, blasted patterns wrought by spurting gas flames, metallic skeletal homeware litter, rooms no longer clearly defined spaces, from kitchen see cracked ceramic shitter, outside broken ashen tear-stained faces. Post the classic black and white images, very contrasting. Have you seen enough? And the third one, this is a poem about homelessness. Huddled beneath rainbow hoodie, head bowed, feet bare, he begs silent. I see him in Shiver Alley. On the way to buy food for birds, I felt such a goody-goody. Finches, sparrows, tits and robins, all friends in my kitchen garden. The epiphany strikes full force. Here, on cardboard squares, sits a man, a young man with no belongings. I would easily spend £30 on fat balls, nuts and mixed seed. He has neither home nor garden. Open my wallet, take tenner, hand him the brown note. He looks up. That's far too much, man, far too much. Shocked at how well spoken he is, the words tumble quick from my mouth. Do you have a bed tonight? I don't. My girlfriend is away. She's coming back with money. We will rent a room very soon. Come to my house. I have spare space. I can't do that, not right now, man. Scribble down name and phone number, thrust paper into blackened hand, hurry to garden birdseed land. Laden down with avian feast, I pass him on my way back home. Did you mean it about the bed? Awkwardly I blurt out, of course. See the tears tumble down his face. Thanks, I might call you sometime soon. He moved in 14 days ago. His room is already unkempt. Empty spice bags litter the floor. When straight, he's quite diffident. We talk all night when he's lucid. Never knew someone with so much strength. The policewoman, very kind, told me he never saw the car that killed him on the roundabout. He stumbled from the curb, she said. The Jaguar killed him stone dead. Not yet 30, a crying shame. I don't know where to lay the blame. Spice, the variety of life. Thank you.
Hello. Can I just say, before we start, wonderful. Yes, can we? I'll tell you why, because going way back to the 70s, I joined Plaid Cymru and was in favour of independence and used to be criticised for actually mentioning the I word. I mean this. So I left, yeah? In the end, we formed Cymru Law, the Republican Socialist Party, and, well, actually, which created Red Poets. Here we are. Just 2 poems. First one, being Welsh. It's just a hobby, really, like watching football or rugby. Love to play at being Welsh, to put on my red shirt and sing My Hen Lad Van Had I now and again. But don't worry, I'm not serious about it. It's just a hobby, really. And when it comes to real life, I know my place, at the back of the queue. So I loyally vote Labour and get English Tory governments, because when it really comes down to it, I'm a true Brit. It's just a hobby, really, being Welsh. Dwi'n ddysgu siarad Cymraeg, defnyddio Duolingo online. I'm learning to speak Welsh, right, online. That's because my father was a Welsh speaker. My mother's father was a Welsh speaker, but my mother, told me that if I wanted to get on in life, this is back in the 50s when I was a boy, then I had to learn to speak English with a proper English accent. Yeah? And so inevitably I rebelled against that. But I've never really got around to doing anything about it until recently. So there's a line, well, there's a word here, size, which is the shortening of Saesneg as in English. And it ends with quite well-known phrase, Yma o hyd, in We're Still Here. So the poem is actually about something that I read recently about Japanese knotweed. Have you heard about Japanese knotweed? I worked as a gardener once, yeah, when I was a young lad in Caswell, and the job was to get rid of Japanese knotweed. Still there. So anyway, this one's called Welsh knotweed because despite the fact that this little country of ours has been right next door to the great imperial England that formed the British Empire, the largest in the world, yeah, we're still here. Haven't got rid of us yet. So it's called Welsh knotweed. It's officially agreed that Japanese knotweed cannot be defeated nor be eradicated, and neither can we, because while our princes were defeated, Wales was not eradicated, and we're still here. Welsh knotweed cannot be treated nor eradicated, so the sites should heed that they cannot succeed. We're dedicated to survive as we still speak our older language. The Welsh knot did not succeed. Yma o hyd. You can give us warning.
This is new. It's about, well, I was just finishing it about 10 minutes ago. This is called Song Remains the Same. We will rise like the sun in the morning, like the evening tide. We are the east of the land. We will rise. We will educate our children to be strong and wise, for knowledge is power, and we're tired of politicians' lies. We will rise, we will rise, we will rise like the mountains around us and the stars in the sky. Our number is as many, a flag yet to fly. We will rise. We are more than cannon for the government's wars to fight, being sold short and fed on lies. There is a price, even in peacetime. We are more than just servants. We will rise, we will rise. Free ourselves from the class shackles. We will rise. This is, I was a punk rocker many years ago, and you know, in those days as young, gullible and swallowed all that shit. And you'd listen to songs. Now there's a song I think we might be discussing this morning called I Wanna Be a Dog. Maybe as you get older you get wiser. This is called Me Too. Don't wanna be a dog, don't wanna be a dog, don't wanna roll over, don't wanna beg, don't wanna lay down and play dead. Don't wanna be a dog, don't wanna be a dog, don't wanna wear your lead, don't wanna be led, don't wanna be told where I can cock my leg. I don't wanna be a dog, I don't wanna be a dog, don't wanna go for walkies, don't wanna wait for treats, don't want your friends to discuss my breeding or my pedigree. Don't want to be a dog, don't want to be a dog. I'll be your boyfriend, but I don't want to be a dog. And the sort of mental health, it's probably the only psychedelic poem I've ever written. I'm putting a lot of stuff lately, you know, from like Sgt. Pepper right through to the Zombies, all these weird little psychedelic albums. Anyway, this is called The Colours Run. It's about not being lucid. It's about mental illness. The white clouds dripped from the blue sky. The yellow sun burned and hurt my eyes. The green fields faded into the mountainside. And I'm the only thing on the planet that's still alive. The brown earth turned to desert sand, and the war started, then it all got out of hand. Red blood dripped from black trees, and the spheres of dreams become reality. Reality become a nightmare on the path that I walked. And I can't remember hearing myself talk, as each thought become a satellite of itself, and all reason seemed to cease to make sense.
Okay, can you hear me? Oh, yes. Sorry about that. Right.
it's really nice actually to be invited here for the launch, because the Red Poets have always spoke freely about the corruption and things like that in Wales and Merthyr, and we've been at different protests and things. So this is actually good to join forces today and sort of have a bit of extra force going forward against corruption, especially, it's one thing to actually have the independence, but there's a lot of backstabbers that actually leave us down and cover things up. And I'd like to start off really with a poem that happened, it was Kevin Cemetery in 1985, and it was, if you really look in the archives, you'll find it's very difficult to find something so crazy, something so disgusting. It's very difficult to get the info, as in, it was horrific. Anyway, it's called After the Rainfall. Fingers creep through shallow graves. Tell me again why Jesus saves. No second coming, yet corpses rise. Nor Armageddon, just graveyard lies. Triumphant body snatchers, exit no sound. Mutilated dead were scattered when found. Smashed splintered wood, rings tagged, removed broken fingers. Overcrowded ceases, the stench still lingers. Authorities mummified, too much red tape. Risen dead of Merthyr behind the cemetery gates. And so much for the trickle-down effect. Yeah? This is about one of my friends who died in a car crash. I think it was about 1992. Yes, 1992. And I'm from Pant, and he was also in school with me. He was in school with me there, and also in Penetrate when Mike was teaching as well at the time when we were there. Again, it was just another life lost because it was the better thing to do at the time, joyriding and all the rest. But this is something that happened outside the Bellevue after as well. It's called Finral Riot. You were having a good time that day. You were burned to a cinder, by the way. They couldn't cut you from the car, but you'd be remembered as a local star. Out of control you went astray on that well-known carriageway. I stand by your graveside with friends and family. No invincibility is the lesson that haunts me. Football team on gravestone leaves us with a link. Everyone heads to town for a send-off drink. Windows smashed, looting starts, a stand-up with the police. TV and newspapers report a night of shattered peace. There's many ways to say goodbye. I still think you were too young to die. Hellraiser friend, there's many of you. You were at the beginning of a very long queue.
I'm Rhoda, I'm from Swansea, and I've been struck this year, as I came to Merthyr Rising last year, by the emphasis here this time on women as well as men. And although we're in an era of looking at variegated gender identities and so on, we know that the world is still structured a lot on binary lines. And yesterday it was very inspiring to go to the women's debate and hear that Dawn Bowden was, I think, the first female MP for more than 100 years in Merthyr. And also very inspiring this morning to hear that in Ireland, whatever we feel about abortion, the right to choose has been overwhelmingly voted for in Ireland, which represents a tremendous shift in Irish politics in challenging the orthodoxies and power and corruption in Ireland and represents much greater respect for equality, for choosing how you live your sexuality. So I'm dedicating these two poems, which were not written specially for that, but they might be vaguely apt to the general theme today. So the first one's called What Do We Say? So what do we say to the mothers of the disappeared? The mothers whose grown-up children were taken away, the punishment for radical thoughts that they'd always feared. So what do we say to the child brides of India, those whose bodies were not allowed to play, but were sacrificed for a general bacchanalia? What do we say to the women of countries where men came officially to save, but behaved like vermin, raping and torturing? One big rave. What kind of response can we make to the mothers of girls forced to be slaves, seized from their schools wide awake, and some tossed aside without graves? Into the night where children are snatched, interrogated, beaten, abused. Women, the pawns in plots that are hatched. The hurt lies in knowing they're being used. Not equal partners in struggle, but pieces of flesh or collateral. Not women who make love or suckle, exchanged like cattle as if it were natural. What words would be solace to the girls abused by priests, assaulted by aid workers or the police, denounced in courts by psychiatrists? What can we say to the women who testify, who risk further danger by speaking out, who break the rules they choose to defy, expressing rage and pain, but given the runabout? Yes, what benefit comes their way from protests and bearing witness, whose sponsors and allies will later betray the trust placed in them? No chance of redress. What meaningful words can we say? Ones that condemn or open up vistas. This surely must stop. There must be a way. Remember, we here are your sisters. What do they want us to say? We'll help you bring them to book. We'll remember your suffering day by day. We'll not stop shining the light and taking a look. Friendship, solidarity. We want to keep up your hope. We can support your tenacity and send things to help you to cope. We'll tell your stories here and far away, and in the fight for justice we'll always assert that abusers and governments should be made to pay for every man, woman and child who is hurt. Perhaps they'd like us to work for change and celebrate their lives and their beauty. To challenge accepted norms is not strange, but finding words to say is a duty. And the second one is called The Blue, Blue Sky, and is the title poem of my next collection. My heart breaks when I hear your story. The weeping in the night, the screaming in the light. All over the world I hear your cry, see the trickle of your tears, and know the searing of your soul. My cry, my tears, my soul. You couldn't save your own children in that second when you faced down evil, the moment when you saw it in their eyes, the malice of those who seek to justify their attempts to subdue your spirit in words and spittle and phlegm and bile. Though your lips were silent, you were not quiet. Though you lay down, your body resisted, and though you acquiesced with smiles, your glance was subversive. Though you answered to a new name, you knew who you were, and though they clothed you in uniform and forced you to fight, your dreams were of flight. No matter what they did, your heart held true. Your memories would not die. And when the day comes when you step away, making footprints on the glistening snow as you walk to freedom, you won't hold back. You'll smash their fragile authority and wipe the smirks from their faces. You'll set the truth free. And you'll know for the first time that you are good. Your love held strong. Your soul was not bought. Know that it was not your fault. Know that they told you lies. And that it's them, not you, who should be punished. That it's them, not you, who are bad. And as you look up from the frost on the ground, through the trees and the rooftops beyond, you'll finally see, with all clarity, the blue, oh, the blue, blue sky.
Fiddling about with mics. Sorry. I'm Rob Cullen. It's a great day for Ireland today, and I have to think I'm second generation Irish, so this poem. My battles with microphones. My father came out to Ireland in the 1920s. He had an apprenticeship as a fitter and went to London because there was no money, but couldn't get work as a fitter. So he ended up working as a porter on Paddington Station, and then after taking so much racial abuse, joined the Irish Guards as a way of securing a regular income. But that put him on the reserve list, so when the war was called out, when the war started, he was called out. He did 4 landings. The last one was Anzio, where the Guards regiments, it was a 94% casualty, so he was lucky to survive. So this poem is to my dad, and it's about the Brexit vote and the re-emergence of all the racist stuff that we've gone through. So Dad, whatever you did, it don't matter much to them. It don't matter how your medals were won or how much blood spilled, the lives lost, the lives killed, and the sacrifices made by the families, widows and children. Hitler's Nazis won anyway. They just waited, pressed down, white shirts from brown, and for the dumb to take over and succumb, they just waited long enough for the media to look the other way, which they do anyway, no surprises there. And the racists came out of the shadows, and white supremacists called for empire too. Black shirts wearing blue collars, is that what we come to? Let's build walls, send them home, back to wherever they come from. Let's send them back, hey, that means me and you, second generation Irish, of an older migration. So I have to say, there is no way that the far right is right, not in this day, not in this time, no way, okay? For 37 years I worked in child protection, and for the last 10 years I worked as a specialist with surviving AVPs. Through the 37 years that I've worked, the amount of denial that all professionals face was just tremendous, and it doesn't end. And what I find I watched the Me Too movement campaign with a great deal of interest, because I've never seen that kind of campaign for working class 2012 and spent 3 years seeing a psychiatrist and psychologist. So I wrote this during that time. It's called An SOS from the Frontier. This is a message from the borderlands, an endless void, a windswept land like all deserts stripped bare of features. So I whisper the message. If you could have heard all that I've heard, if you could see all that I've seen, if you could have been there, far out there, and if you could have listened to people's words, listened to those broken, hurting children, and that place out there, in here, in me, in you. The dark frontier, that secret place you know, I know, we all know, but deny its existence. For me there is no choice, I cannot deny its imprint on my mind. My memory is not blind, deaf and feeling, but I wish sometimes that it might be so. Now what do I do with these memories, the words I do not wish to store? And hold it's a mad treasure trove, archive of horrors of mankind, of humankind, the stories told and told again. The faces change, but the pain and fear, the words remain. It's unending, it's our narrative. As long as we survive, the story will evolve and grow, for we are humans. I worked amongst the desolation, fragments, survivors of lives that might have flowered, and that endless unknowing of what might have been, of who would I have been if that had not been done. To me, to who I was, a child and unsuspecting. Imagine the innocence and the quiet trust, and all that time of working to heal denial, a total blindness of the reality of the harm being done to children everywhere you look. It's a reality. Take a bus or a train, sit in a cafe, you'll be close to someone who has survived, and then the guaranteed denial that fact is fact. In the face of all that, and then that sound of wheels within wheels grinding, the noise of conversations and the deals in closed rooms, to keep silence, to protect the perpetrators and prevent the door from being opened and the truth from being known and shared. 40 years of denial, obstruction and frustration. Our lives are brief, a mere fluttering in time. So open the door wide and let the light in.
Sorry. That's okay.
Mae fy mor dda I fod yma I gefnogi ansiad grŵp sy'n gefnogi'r cysyniad o normaleiddio annibyniaeth I Gymru. It's so good to be here to support the launch of a movement that is in favour of the concept of normalising the idea of independence for Wales. I'm all in favour of that. So the first one I've got here is called We the People. We are not Dylan Thomas. We do go gentle to that good night. We burn and rage at Simon Cowell. We rage against Craig Neville Horwood. We ignore the death of 1,000 cats. We are willfully sedated. We are lulled into a stupor. We are wholly apathetic. We look the other way while we are cheated by the bankers. We are shafted by our betters. We are bought and sold for profit. We are forced to take a pay cut. We embrace false propaganda. We should let ourselves get angry. We should make the bastards listen. We should make a stand for justice. We could change things for the better. We could cause a revolution. We can't be bothered. which was called Lies, Damned Lies. When I was a child, I was led to believe that England's history was ours. That we were British, not Welsh. That Welsh was a dead language. When I was a youth, I was led to believe that we should respect the Queen. That Labour was our saviour. That we should obey English laws. Now, I'm a man. I've come to perceive that all they told me was wrong. That Wales is too precious to lose. That Britain is a lie. And finally, I couldn't read in an old chapel. Those who know my background will know the irony of that. But I couldn't do that without doing this one. So this is called A Baby is Born. So let's imagine it's Christmas time, okay? Reading from the Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 2, verses 8 to 14. And there were in the same country peasants abiding in council flats, keeping watch over their meagre budgets. And lo, the media agenda came upon them, and the glory of the hype shone round about them, and they were pacified. And the news reporter said unto them, Behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of London a Saviour, which is the new royal baby. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in expensive designer baby clothes, lying in a palace. And suddenly there was with the news reporter a multitude of media hacks, praising the monarchy and saying, Glory to the Queen in the highest, and on earth peace, hoodwinking all men. Thank you. Go ahead.